Yeah, that's perfect.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about holidays on a budget. This is a way that we want to share some information to help you enjoy the holiday season without the financial stress. And this workshop is brought to you by My Money Workshop. And we are really excited to have everyone today. If we could go to the next slide.
Did it transition?
I haven't seen it yet. It could be on my end. Did it change on your end?
I see it on my end.
So for those of you who are not familiar with My Money Workshop, we are a nonprofit organization and our mission is to educate community members on how to manage their finances wisely and how to make a lifetime of informed financial decisions. We've done over 1,000 workshops and counting, workshops like this for different audiences. We've had over 20,000 participants in our workshop since we were founded. 100% of people who attend our workshops say that they gain confidence in managing their long-term financial stability has increased. 77% say they're, after attending our workshops, they're going to save at least $25 a month. We have over 50 volunteer instructors, including myself. I should introduce myself, although it says Gamita Diaz, I should change the name. I am Ramona Thomas. I am a volunteer instructor with My Money Workshop, and I am co-hosting this workshop with Crystal. Crystal, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Crystal Love Flora, and I am, so I know we have a page for that real quick. I am Crystal Love Flora, and I am also a volunteer instructor here at My Money Workshop. And I've been doing this since about April or March of this year. I joined the team, and it's been really great just being able to work with all of the participants and provide some really good information.
Awesome. It's great to be doing this workshop with you, Crystal. Just as an FYI, just Crystal and I as volunteer instructors, can you go back to the other slide? I'm sorry. Yep. Please note that we provide the information for educational purposes only during our live webinars like this one. It's not intended to be and should not be considered advice with respect to your personal finances. So a little couple of housekeeping rules or just ways to enjoy this session before we dive right into the content. So if you could mute your lines, that would be great. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat box and we'll make sure that we get to them. If you're having any technical problems with the slides or hearing me or Crystal, please let us know in the chat. And then we are recording this session. So the slides in this entire presentation will be available on the My Money Workshop website after today or after our time together. So Grace actually, while we were getting started, shared why she was interested and why she joined us today. And I see that we have another participant. So if you want to just drop in the chat, you know, what about this workshop caught your eye or why you wanted to attend this workshop, that would be great so we can make sure that we answer your questions today. All right, so we can dive right into our content there.
All right, so you already talked about that, so I can move. Okay.
Yeah. So our objective today is to provide some fun, practical tips to help you save money as you prepare for the holiday season, and then things that you can do today and even after the holiday, you know, for saving for next holidays or either you can also think about this as a way of saving for other big, you know, occasions, celebrations, things like that, weddings. So we hope that you get some great tips that you can leave with today. If we can go to the next slide. Great. So here are some questions that as you think about the upcoming holiday season that you can start asking yourself now. Am I celebrating with my family? Who am I going to get a gift for? How much holiday food will we need? Are we taking dishes to relatives' houses or are we hosting? Do we have to travel? If so, how are we going to travel? Are we getting in the car? Are we getting on a plane, train? Think about that. And then as you think about gifting, your holiday gifting, are you purchasing items that will need to be shipped? Or will you be doing, personal delivery? Next slide. So start thinking about those questions because that's going to help you think about, your budget and how much you need to spend. And budget is one of my favorite things to talk about because it's really important. Think about your budget as your financial plan. Most people tend to start spending money buying gifts before they set a budget. And then when January comes, they're looking at all the credit card bills and all the debt thinking, oh my gosh, why didn't I do something different? So the first tip that we have for you today is determine your budget for the season. Think about how much you actually have available to spend for the holiday season. Next slide. And here are some ways that you can think about that. To go.
Yeah,
Okay.
my side.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. So here are some ways that you can think about your budget. So you want to make a list of, who you're going to get gifts for. Think about the total amount that you have available for the holiday season. Think about your next few paychecks between now and the end of the year. What portion is going to go to food, hospitality, decorations, expenses, and then what portion are you going to use for gifts? So you want to kind of write it down, and you can think of it in two different ways. You can think about it as a percentage. I'm going to spend 20% of my income that's coming in on gifts. Or for the whole season, I'm going to split it out, 10% gifts, 10%, food and hosting. Or you might think in a dollar amount. I have X amount coming in and I'm going to spend $500 on gifts, $300 on food. So there are two ways you can think about it. You can think about it in absolute amount. You can think about it as a percentage. And then think about all the extra stuff that tends to cost money and we don't think about it, postage for, if you're sending holiday cards, if you're doing, some people do like the family photos that they do every year, those tend to cost money. If you're doing decorations for your home, gift wrap, think about shipping. Again, if you're ordering online, not everybody does free shipping. So you want to think about, those kind of costs as well. Yep.
Next one.
Yep. Next slide. Sorry. So here's some tips in thinking about your budget. Be aware of what you're spending. And that's basically what a budget is. It's your spending plan. It's helping you think about what you need to spend and what time frame. Review your spending. As you start shopping, think about if your budget is $500 and you're already at $350 and you still have 5 more gifts to buy, then you want to think about how to do that within the money that you have remaining. Another really wonderful thing about having a budget is just being able to identify where your money is going so that you know where you've already invested in terms of gifts. You can categorize your expenses. So again, as you think about, if you are lump summing your spending for the holiday season, you can think about what category goes to food, what category goes to gifts, what category, what amount goes to travel. So you want to think about those different categories. And then what I love about a budget, again, it's your plan, right? It helps you stay on track to meet your goals. So some people, I don't know if they still do this, but I know back in the day, they used to have Christmas clubs where you could, save in a club. Some people do, other different kinds of gifting clubs where you are able to save money throughout the year. So that way it doesn't feel like a really big pinch to spend money, in the holiday season. But the goal here is to make sure that as you're shopping for the holiday season, that you still don't, that you still save, right? That you still have money for savings and for an emergency fund in case something comes up. And then what's also really nice about having a budget, the value is it allows you to make a commitment to yourself, right? And then you can say, hey, this is what I'm going to spend, and your budget kind of holds you accountable, right? Did I do that, or did I go over? Next slide. So a couple different quick resources. If you don't currently keep a budget, this is again the first tip. It's the one I love the most. commit to trying one. Commit at least for the holiday season to have a budget. And you can do a couple different things. You can go low tech, a piece of paper like this, a little pad and a pen can work, a small notebook. You can use an Excel spreadsheet for, folks that are more tech savvy. There are different spending trackers, Excel. If you're a Google user, you can use Google Sheets. And then there are some other tips here, online tools like Mint, Good Budget, MH Riley, envelopes. And you can actually, if you don't want to use any digital tools, you can actually use real envelopes. Just take a couple aside. This is the money I'm going to use for travel and put the money in there. This is the money I'm using for gifts, put the cash in there. And this is the money that I'm using for food or other expenses. So if you can go as low tech or as high tech as you want, the key is to just create a budget, be thoughtful about it, and then use it. Next slide. So a couple of tips on tracking your expenses. So I don't know if I said this earlier, but one of the things I love about budget is it allows you to see what's coming in. It's your income, what you make, other money from other sources. If you have a side hustle or part-time job, or if you're, even if you're still, collecting unemployment, it allows you to see what's coming in. And then you want to make sure that you're really key on what's going out. So the real key to managing your budget is you want to spend less than what you're bringing in. So you want your expenses to be lower than your income. And so a couple of tips on how to track your expenses is, create a system. Again, if you're, digitally savvy, you can do that. There are a lot of apps, whether you're Android or an iPhone user, there are a lot of apps that will allow you to do that. Nothing beats old fashioned pen and paper, whatever works for you. And then a couple of things to think about, if you're spending daily, you want to record your expenses the day that you spend them. Because sometimes, especially if you're using like a debit card, it may not show up till the next day. So whatever you use in terms of a register for keeping track of what's in your bank account, make sure that you're tracking as you're spending, because you don't want to overspend and have, overdraft fees and things like that. I talked about the online resources with apps. And if you bank online, if you use any of the major banks like Chase or Bank of America, a lot of them allow you to see what you're spending right on your phone. Again, you want to be consistent in how you track your expenses. Try to do it as you spend so that you don't go over. And then some people will do it at the end of the week, right? So Friday, Saturday, you're like, okay, you pull all your receipts together and you look at what you spent for the week. I would say do what's most comfortable for you. For some people, it's as they do it. Some people, it's at the end of the day. If you're going shopping, at the end of the day, you pull all your receipts together. I wouldn't recommend monthly. Some people do as they get their bank statements. I think you should reconcile your accounts monthly, but I would recommend tracking your expenses more frequently than monthly. It's that, who remembers 3 weeks ago, right? And if you're looking at your expenses, like, did I really spend that? So daily and weekly while it's still fresh. And then whatever you do, whether you use paper, whether you use an app, or you just use your online banking resources, you want to be able to go back and refer back so that you know that what you spent is what you spent. The key here is just making sure that you're organized and that you are in control and that you're very mindful, right? People get caught up in the season. When you go to stores that have music, that is a marketing ploy. This is an aside, because people spend more money when they're happy and when music is playing. So just be very mindful when you're out shopping about those things, because you want to stay within your budget. Crystal, let me pause and see if you have anything that you want to add around the budget tip before we go to the next one.
I think everything that you said has been really helpful and beneficial.
Okay, awesome. Great. So our next tip, next slide, is, what if you're on a low budget, right? Maybe you're saving for something, a house, a car, just you have other financial priorities, right? But you still want to have a great holiday season. Nothing wrong with that. Tip 2 is thinking about sales, right? Things that you could make at home, getting crafty. There are a lot, everyone has a gift, right? We all have something that we do very well, whether you're good in the kitchen or you're good at making things or you're good at doing things. Think about that as, opportunities to do very wonderful and creative gifts. Next slide. If you're watching the news, I know you're here, we're all hearing about this every day. about the supply chain, right? And so we don't want to get caught up in that. And I think, what the Grinch is trying to say to us in this slide is that, when we think about the holiday season, maybe it really isn't the gift that's gift wrap, right? It's something else. The holiday season means something more. It's time with family and friends and, reflection and just the things that we care about. So don't get overwhelmed by what's happening on the news with the supply chain and, oh, you needed to shop in July. Like, don't stress about that. We have some tips that can help you think about gifts, um, regardless of what's sitting on those tankers. Next slide. So think about what you can make at home. Again, you don't always have to shop for gifts. When you think about the people that love you and that you love, think about some of the things that mean the most to you. They're not necessarily things that were bought in a store. You can do, holiday art, family cards. I always love getting the pictures from my friends who have kids. And then you look back over 3 or 4 years at how the kids have grown. You can do free printable online cards. There are a lot of things that you can do in terms of arts and crafts. For those who have those arts and craft gifts, I don't, but some people are really good at knitting or pulling together candles and making baskets and things like that. If you can afford to work with a local artist, you can hire one of those, or just go on Pinterest or some of the social sites that have the DIY. You could do it yourself. You could get some really great ideas off the internet for free. You could do videos. I do this a lot. Just sending video greetings to friends. So that's also something you could do as a family, make it really fun. For those who are good in the kitchen, you can bake cookies and cakes, all kinds of little, delicious things that we all love to eat around this time of year. You can wrap them in very inexpensive ways, pretty tins and baskets and things like that. You could organize a baking swap. Here it says cookies, but people who love different kinds of cakes and brownies and all other kinds of things, you can do a swap with family members. Just think about different things that you can do. And then another thing we talk about throughout this workshop is thinking about ways that you can save holiday wrapping, right? So it may not be wrapping paper, but maybe gift bags is another way to kind of recycle and reuse those things as well. So think about, your juices flowing, thinking about that gift that you have that you're really good at. Next slide. And these are some really great examples. I talked about the family holiday cards. I love the one in the middle. And again, visit Pinterest. They have all these great ideas. That's actually a whisk for those who may not be able to make it out. It's a whisk with Hershey Kisses in it. Very beautiful gift for people who love chocolate, who love to spend time in the kitchen, right? It's a kind of 2-for-1. They get to eat the chocolate and use the whisk while they while they bake. And then the other is an idea around candles. So you can go to like the Dollar Tree and, dollar store, whatever's in your neighborhood, and find some really great ideas. Again, just get creative. Think about the things that you like that that people might also enjoy. The next slide. And Crystal, if you could.
Did you want me to pause?
No, go. Alrighty. So the idea behind the video there was that you could reuse, in this case, it was Japanese fabric that was used for a gift. Again, you could think about things like that, right? So do you have beautiful fabric that might be great to wrap a gift? And then it could be used as like something to sit on the foot of someone's bed, or, drape as a decorative fabric for like over the couch or something like that. So just get creative with the ways that you can use wrapping. Yeah, just get creative with the ways that you can use wrapping for gifts. So for those of you who are not creative, not, you may be creative in other ways, but maybe not in an artistic gift way, right? In terms of wrapping and things like that. There are other ways that you can get creative and buying discounted gift cards. Websites such as Raise, they sell used gift cards at a discount. So gift cards is one of those things that people don't always remember to use or forget to use. So if you have unused gift cards, you can actually sell them and raise some money to use towards your holiday shopping, or you can buy discounted cards and use that way. The key here is, make a goal, think about ways that you can get things at a discount or on sale, right? So make sure that you're not paying full price. You might decide, to think about like a minimum percentage, like 10 to 20% off each gift card, if you decide to go to gift card route. The other ways that you can think about ways of saving money and using things that you have access to, if you have credit cards that have points or miles for airline miles or hotel points, or I know some credit cards will give you cash back at the end of the year, things like that. You could use those as well as, a way of giving cards or magazine subscriptions or, gift cards for Amazon. Like there's just so much out there that you could think about beyond, giving your own gifts. So that's another thing for you guys to think about. Next slide. Again, we're talking about being creative, right? So we talked about reusing fabrics or for wrapping. We talked about different inexpensive gifts that you can give. We talked about gift cards. We talked about baking, a lot of things that you can do right at home, right in your living room. A couple other things that you can do here is you can make a game. I know a lot of offices do this, whether it's called like Secret Santa, grab bags, things like that. You can create some different kind of contests among your friends and family, see who could save the most money, right? Who gives the best gifts on the lowest budget, right? And then maybe throw a little pool in there that whoever does gets a little gift at the end, right? As some incentive. You can do swap meet here. We talk about, again, how many people have, clothes in their closet that they've never worn. So you can gift things like that, an appliance that you bought from Marshall's just because it looked great, even though you don't really make cookies. There are all these things that you probably have in your home that you haven't used, and you can do like a gift swap with friends. Like, oh my gosh, I really need that cookie sheet because we bake cookies all the time, and maybe you don't, right? So just think about those things, and then ask friends that and especially if you're gifting for kids, if they have suggestions or any insights into any discounts. And I should say this too, and I meant to say this earlier, for people who have children, if you have small children, it's really easy to go over your budget because, they love this time of year. You get really excited about this time of year. So you want to just sort of think about how you can enjoy that family time and still see them light up. But without, going over your budget. So, being really creative with children's gifts as well. Crystal, I'm going to pause again. And before we go into the next tip, see if there's anything you and/or Marisol would like to add.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things, I think people underestimate how much other people enjoy getting a unique or homemade gift, handmade gift. And so I think some of those options that they showed, especially like the whisk and things like that, and people like to know that you kind of put some thought into things. And I think sometimes we get nervous about giving those types of gifts, but I think people really like those. I think time is really important, especially a lot of people didn't get to spend time with family and friends last Christmas. And so I think we shouldn't discount that either. We don't always have to give a gift, but, having friends over and like I said, making some cookies or something and just spending some quality time, phones down, quality time or with each other can be really relaxing and really fun. And a lot of people miss that closeness that they have. And one thing that we're also doing, instead of asking people that usually want to give gifts or things like that, two things that we do. One year we did where we had a nonprofit that we asked, if you're going to give gifts, why don't you just donate a few dollars to this nonprofit that feeds families at Christmas and things like that, instead of buying gifts. And that's one thing you can also do. And I have my kids this year making Christmas cards for the senior citizen home. And so for people that we may have given gifts to, we're saying we're doing this in lieu of, gifts, we're giving back to other people. So it doesn't always have to be that. You can get together and do things for other people. You can donate your time. You guys can go as a group and do different things. So I think it's a really great time to be creative and find ways to get together, and maybe instead of giving to each other, give to somebody else who really needs it too.
I love that. That is so awesome. That really is. Thank you for saying that. It's just such a great reminder of how important it is to give in very different ways.
For ways, yeah, I think it's really good. So, it's a lot of stuff that we can do to offer up during this time.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. So our next tip is online shopping, right? Which we all have done, especially during the pandemic. I think even people who love to go in the store, who love to touch it, have had to, order online at some point during this pandemic. So as you think about online shopping, next slide, there are a couple of things that we want you to think about, ways that you can really save in terms of coupons and promo codes. There are websites where you can buy gifts online discounted, like Groupon, Retail Me Not, Honey, Ebates, Rakuten. I love their commercials, by the way. They have really great commercials. But here are some sites here that really do save you money. And what I love about some of these sites is that you can get like really great quality stuff. You just pay less for it, right? So if you could get the same quality and the same thing you want and spend less, like who doesn't want to do that? Who wants to pay full price if you don't have to? And so we definitely encourage you to think about that in terms of promo codes and coupons and specials that they're having. I will say one thing to be mindful of is that sometimes these coupons or promo codes may expire. So for example, if you buy something off Groupon, the merchant that's actually selling the discount for their product or service may have an expiration date. It may be 90 days, it may be 120 days. So you just want to be mindful that when you're buying those kind of gifts for other people, that they are aware of the expiration date. Because, a lot of times we think, oh, we're going to get to it. Like say you buy a discounted massage off of Groupon. You just want to make sure that your gift recipient actually uses it, right? And then, by July, they say, oh, I'm going to finally get that massage. And then it expired, right? So you lose, they lose. It's like a really, not good situation. So just be mindful of the dates, and it's okay to make that aware to your gift recipient, right? Just, hey, you have this massage, but don't forget, you got to use it by March 31st or, whatever it is. Next slide.
And I just add that
yeah.
is really awesome. You can put the software on your computer, or you can go to the website first. And in a couple months, I think usually in January or February, after the holidays, they will send you that check that you'll get. And that's one thing that's really nice, is that it's actual money that you get received from Rakuten. And you can also, if you share it with your friends and they use it as well, you can make a couple extra dollars off of referral fees too. So Rakuten is definitely a way to be very easy to use, and it just gives you money. So I love Rakuten.
And who doesn't like extra money? I mean, think about it. You're putting together a budget for the holiday season, and then in January you get some of your money back. Like,
who
that's exactly
gift that keeps giving.
Exactly right. So another thing is you're shopping online. You want to do some comparison shopping. So, don't take the time. This says don't impulse buy, but, take the time, shop around, right? So you might say, what you're going to get, right? Maybe you have your list, what you're getting for your partner, your spouse, your kids, your parents, people important in your life, friends. And you already know I'm getting this. Look at 2 or 3 websites just to compare the price, because sometimes the website we go to first doesn't always have the best price. And we all have our first sort of favorite sites that we go to, but I always just Google and see. Like if I'm looking for a specific item, I'll Google and see, because you can see multiple merchants. What is it on Amazon? What is it at Macy's? What does it cost at another merchant? And then you can go and do some price shopping and then see, like, is Macy's having a sale? Oh, they're having a 15% off sale. So now that takes the price down even lower. So, once you have your list and you know who you're buying for, take some time and just compare shopping. This says add things to your cart. I actually learned this from my sister. Like when you see things that you like, especially if you have accounts with different stores, with different online merchants, add it to your cart. And then just wait and see if the price goes down. So I do that. Like I'll add to my list and I'll add to my cart. And then when the store is having a sale, I can see the drop in the price, right? Because then I know, oh, last month that was $47 and now it's 27. I'm getting it, right? Because it's not going to get any cheaper than that. So it allows you to kind of gauge whether or not you're really getting a good deal. And again, if the merchant is using extra coupons, you also can save that way. So, you again, you may be surprised. And I learned this personally in terms of, adding things to your cart or to your list and then just kind of watching the price drop as you get ready to buy. And that actually raises a point about like starting early, right? So not waiting until December 23rd where, you're like, oh my gosh. Or, if you celebrate Hanukkah or other things where you're waiting right until the last minute to buy gifts. So you want to make sure that you give yourself the time to compare shop because often people don't do it because they just feel pressed to buy the gift right away. So if it's November, you have time. So this is the time to make your list and think about it.
And
Go ahead, Crystal.
And to Ramona's point, when you add things to your cart, sometimes the retailer might, even if your cart has been sitting there for a while, they might send you an email saying, hey, we noticed you had some stuff in your cart. Here's a 10 or 15 or 20% discount if you go ahead and check out within the next, 2 or 3 days or something. So sometimes they even track that you are just kind of holding off and they want to push you to that finish line. So it pays to have a little bit of patience.
That's exactly right. They want the sale too. As much as you want to get the gift, they want you to buy from them.
They want you to buy it.
Exactly. So the next slide, as we continue talking about online shopping, for those of who are very active on social media, Facebook has a whole marketplace, and that's another. We didn't talk about that earlier in terms of different, swapping and different places to buy. But Facebook Marketplace is a great way to buy stuff, right? And they also have Facebook Shop. Let It Go, which I think used to be Upsell or some other website, but those are great sites to sell things, but they're also great sites to buy things that people are selling. So again, for every gift you buy, this is an idea, sell something you haven't used in a while. And I've used Facebook Marketplace to sell things, old equipment for my business, old furniture, like you'd be surprised. So that's a great way if you're looking for something, if you know someone who needs something, that's a great way to look there as well as a discount. Just a couple other sort of online tips. You want to clear your cookies when you are leaving different retail shops, because what may happen is that they'll see that you visited. And when you visit often, you're visiting their site frequently, the price may change. And this will depend on the retailer. Some retailers, the price is the price, it is what it is. Other retailers are watching your activity, with the cookies. Remember I said I Google and I see which merchants, the top 2 or 3, and then I go to those pages. But if you're visiting, let's just say Kohl's and Macy's and another merchant, they may change the price over time so that those boots that you looked at that were $89 and then you go to another site and you come back may now be $119. Right. So that's where adding to your cart can be helpful. And that's where the price comparison can be helpful as well. The other thing about clearing your cookies too is that I don't know if this always works, but when you visit a site or now when you say something and you go to Facebook or you go to other social media, the thing that you talked about it, the thing you were searching for just kind of follows you to other platforms. It's called targeted marketing. I don't know if clearing your cookies will allow them to not follow you to Facebook or other sites, but I find sometimes that's annoying. It's just kind of like, okay, I'm done looking. Stop following me with the ads, Another couple of tips around the online shopping is just beware of shipping prices. Again, not everybody does free shipping, and it may be cheaper for you to ship it yourself. So just, think about ways that you might be able to purchase a shipping label online through the post office and save money that way. And the post office is one of those places where when you buy postage online, it is cheaper than when you go to the actual post office, the counter, and pay. So if you do priority mail, that tends to be less. The postage online, you can print it out, tends to be less than if you go in person. And then there is a link here for those of you that may need to do some online shopping, freeshippingday.com. You want to check that out and get some information on how you can save on shipping. And then, definitely take advantage of Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals. Again, my sister is the shopper. She, sends me the links already, and some stores have already been having, like, they call it Black Friday, even though it's not here. I know a couple of stores last weekend had a Black Friday sale. So, and then Cyber Monday, I know a lot of online merchants will do the free shipping. So take advantage of those. A lot of the stores already have their, Thanksgiving sales. We're going to open at midnight, open at 5 a.m. You don't even have to deal with all that trampling at the store. You can do it right online. Exactly, right. And save money on shipping, and again, get those really great discounts. So another thing, when you're price comparing across different online merchants, some may offer free shipping, but the price may be higher. And, because we often think I don't want to pay for shipping, right? But then you look at another merchant and they may charge you $13.95 for shipping, but the price is lower. So when you add the two, it may still be less than the merchant that's offering the free shipping. So you do want to make sure that if you're having anything shipped, that you just look at those costs and you factor it into the total amount that you're spending. Anything else on online shopping, Crystal, before we go to our last tip?
One thing that I do when it's applicable, if I'm purchasing something like for my mom, like I'll use my mom as an example, from her favorite store, instead of it having shipped to me so that I can wrap it up and send it to her later, I will actually just go ahead and have it directly shipped to her. She doesn't, we don't necessarily have to have our gifts wrapped all the time, and I know make it really pretty, which is nice, but instead of paying for shipping twice, or if they're going to ship it for free, instead of getting it to you and then you have to pay for shipping later. My mom lives in Ohio, so I have to ship all her gifts. I just usually just have it sent directly to her. And a lot of places will ask, is this a gift? And they'll let you maybe like do a little note that, so I can put, happy birthday or Merry Christmas or whatever you want to put on there, so that when they get it, they know it's from you as well. So that is an idea too. If you know that you're buying something for that person, send it directly to them. They don't need wrapping paper and bows there. They'll be okay. But it saves you a little bit of money and time potentially.
Yeah, and that's a really great tip. Yeah, and it takes a lot of angst off. And for the gift recipient, they like it too, because it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. It's like a nice little treat for them as well. So our last tip is, and I said this earlier, start early, right? So you have a good 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks to get started. And the key here, next slide, is just don't wait till the end. That's where we spend more money, when we wait to the last minute. When we procrastinate, it costs us more. So, you attended this workshop, you are watching this workshop, so start now. And even think about planning ahead for next year. I said this early on, you can shop think about it. On December 26th, everything is cheaper. On January 2nd, everything is cheaper, right? After Christmas, after New Year's sale, those things you could start, planning for next year. If you have extra money in your budget after you complete your shopping, you can buy clearance stuff, again, for next year in terms of wrapping, things like that. For those who, just don't want the stress, start saving earlier. Right. So rather than getting to October, November, and then setting up that budget that we talked about, plan your budget for next year, and you can start putting away, $10, $20 every week. And that way, October comes, you can start a lot earlier. And I would say, everything we talked about, I know this is around holiday shopping, but everything we talked about could work for any sort of big spending plan you have. So if you are, if you have a child that's graduating, from high school or college, and you're planning a graduation celebration, or a wedding, or anything that requires sort of a big outlay of expense, expenses where you're bringing people together for any kind of celebration. A holiday is certainly a celebration. You can use these tips that we've shared today for that as well. Again, not waiting to the last minute, getting, early start on shopping, invitations, all of those things really, your list of who's coming. You can do all of these things you can do in other areas of your life outside of holiday shopping. And again, just sort of saving ahead. You can have a budget. You don't a spending plan way before the holiday starts or your big event starts. Next slide. And again, one of the things I love about budgeting is I love talking about savings and saving money. Just, so people have a little more financial security. So we want you, as you think about, we're already getting past the holiday season, but you're going to make it through this holiday season. You're going to spend within your budget. Everyone's going to love their gifts. And then January is going to come. You're going to be like, I mastered that. I rocked that. So I'm going to start early next year. So one thing we want to challenge you to think about is it's called a 52-week savings challenge. And if you do this, you can actually save $1,378 in 1 year. And the way it works is you build every week. So you start the first week, and I should say this too, don't wait till January. You could actually start the 52-week savings challenge today. So basically the way it works is the first week you save $1. On week 2, you save $2. On week 3, you save $3. And so on and so on until the 52nd week of the year, you save $52. If you do that, basically you're increasing $1 every week. If you do that at the end of the year, you'll have $1,378. So I'm going to encourage people who are on the Zoom and who are watching this on video to come up with your own savings plan. Again, you don't have to start in January. You can start this today. Just mark this week as week 1. And 52 weeks from now, you will have $1,378. So it's a great way to prepare for next holiday season, or again, other big celebrations that are coming up in your life. Okay, that's our sort of last tip. Unless you have anything else to add, Crystal.
Actually on the savings, it's a little different. One thing we do is my husband and I tend to buy our kids their Christmas gifts. And for everybody else who wants to purchase them a gift around the holidays, we send them a link to their 529 plans. And we ask everybody to just put money in there because they get enough from us. They get enough from us and they don't need any more toys and clothes and things like that. But they always need money for college. And the earlier we can pad that college account with the more funds that we can add to it is great. So, and a lot of people love that. They are always so excited to give every year for Christmas and their birthday, we send it. And they're so excited. And one day you could just say your family, your village helped to send you to college. And it's a gift that really pays off 18, 19, or not 19, but 16, 18, 16, 12 years from now, however your child is. And it helps you too to keep that money just growing. So we do that. We do that for Christmas and birthdays as well.
I love it. I love it. Yes, it's in the way that college costs are increasing. It's definitely a great
Takes a village.
Yep,
for sure. Really start the 5. If you don't have one, start now, and you'll be surprised at how many people are excited to give to your kids' college funds.
And to see it grow every year as they get older, it's really nice. Agreed. So we are at the Q&A portion of our webinar. So if you have a question, please drop it in the chat and we would love to be able to answer that for you now. No questions?
There's nothing in the chat as of the moment. And any participants that are with us right now, they can also just unmute themselves and ask that way as well.
That would be great. If you have a question and you don't want to drop it in the chat, you can unmute yourself and we will answer it right now.
It's me, Grace. I don't have any questions, but I feel that everything you've shared with me has been very informative. I never even thought about that college fund, the very last thing that was mentioned. That's a terrific idea.
Yes.
And I'm gonna actually bring that up with my family members because I have a 10-year-old grandson and we're always like, what do you want? Well, what is it that he wants? And he has a lot of toys and we just like, we need to get him something different. And I think this would be perfect.
Yes. And I think it's really great and everybody can file in every year. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Never thought about it. It just something that is great that I learned this and something great to share on with family members. I appreciate that.
I'm so glad that you were able to get something helpful out of this. This is great. This is what we are excited to do. So that's really great.
No, yeah, and I wrote a lot of things down, honestly, as you were speaking, things that I didn't even think about, but I just thought that 52-week savings, 52-9 savings plan. And yeah, and the 52-week savings plan, that's another thing that I had started a while back from one of my coworkers, and it actually did work. I was surprised that it actually worked. And unfortunately, yeah, with the pandemic, unfortunately, I stopped, but I'm gonna restart it again because it actually did.
It's good. That's
That's
awesome.
awesome, Grace.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So you're a witness
appreciate-
that it worked.
Absolutely, yes, it did. And it was funny because at the end of the year, I took a picture of it and I sent it to my daughter. She was like, "Mom, how did you get all that money?" I said, $1 a week.
So you had it in a jar, a physical jar where you were adding it and you could see it pile up?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's even
Yes.
better.
Yes. And then at the end, I just counted it all. I spread it on the table. I sent her a picture. She was like, "Oh my God, Mom."
I love that. I
Yes.
love that. I hope that really inspires someone else who's listening and watching, who's been wanting to try it and thinking, oh, it really doesn't work. Grace, I really hope that inspires someone else to try it. And I love the spreading it on the table, like the physical, tangible, you could actually see it. It's real, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you feel good. You're like, yes. Because you can do a holiday club at the bank, but it's being held there so you don't actually see it grow.
Yeah.
It was so great. It was absolutely great. So I'm going to be restarting that. And once again, I appreciate the time that you guys put into this and all the helpful tips.
Awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate that
that
you're able to join us. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm wishing you all a very happy afternoon. And thank you once again.
Wonderful. Before you sign off, thank you so much. Grace, if we go to the next slide, you just shared what you've taken away from this webinar. That's awesome. I hope others will be taking some really great tools and tips. And if we go to the next slide, just here, we do have many more participant resources on the My Money Workshop website. So if you go to mymoneyworkshop.org, go to participant resources. We have free pre-recorded videos and other events. You can follow us on social media so that you can find out. We are working on a whole new program of webinars and resources and workshops coming out soon. So follow us on social media. You'll be first to know about the new series of workshops that are coming out. And then if we go to the next slide, we just really want to thank you again for your participation. We really appreciate your time and just are really thankful for your presence and hope you got a lot out of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I certainly will follow you. It was great. I never thought that it was going to be as informative, so I'm glad that I did it.
Awesome.
Well, great. That is good to hear. Thank you so much again for joining us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a very nice day once again.
You as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay.